Good evening and welcome to the Haskell House on Main Street in Clarion for the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also brought to you by Dubrook. I'm Dave Cadis. With me tonight is Brock Jordan. And Brock, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Show's always fun to do, so
yeah,
wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Well, we got a lot of information to bring to you tonight. The District 9 football playoff brackets were announced earlier this weekend, and I know everybody was jostling and they wanted this game and that game, and why do we have a bye? Why is Clarion going to Brockway to play Perry, and we can't play on Redbank's field, and all kind of controversies going on, but we finally got it settled down that we can play some football on Friday night.
Oh, it's going to be such a fun weekend here. Start of the weekend here on Friday. You already talked about some of the field conditions. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be one of those nights where it's probably going to be a lot of running the ball, so maybe not a ton of high-powered offenses out there, but some great matchups we have as well this week, whether it be single A, double A, triple A. It's a ton of fun games to be at. I know we're going to be at Union High School for Cameron County and Union AC Valley, and also be at Brockway High School for Central Clarion and Perry. So yeah, it's going to be a fun week.
So you got a couple selections to make on Friday night. What are you going to watch? I know they're very excited. You're a hometown boy down in Reimersburg, Pennsylvania. The people are losing their minds because football team's doing real well, and a lot of accolades went to the Union AC Valley football team. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But before we get started, it's been a good season. We're in the playoffs now, and I want to take a quick minute to thank all the coaches in District 9, and I know you've had to deal with them an awful lot. I've had to deal with them, and Mike and Bob also. But, boy, we have called them for information on their team, whether it be send us a roster, tell us a little bit about your team so we could dress up our broadcast a little bit. And I'll tell you, every coach in District 9 returned phone calls, and they're busy guys, no doubt about that. They teach at the school district, then they go to practice, then they come home to try to have dinner with their families and do whatever the little kids need to do and all that. But to take the time out to call us and be involved with that, that's something special to us.
Absolutely. The coaches have all been great this year. I've talked to them after the games. A little bit media day I was at, so I talked to some of them and the players that they brought along that night. They've all been fantastic. I expect nothing less of them as well. They're all great guys. I know a couple of them. Like we discussed earlier, being a coach is not a 2-hour job.
No.
It's not 2 hours every day. It's, you're putting in hours all through the week, game planning, watching film. And it's the same thing for the players too. They're watching film all week. They're getting ready, gearing up. And a lot of, some of these co-ops, there's a lot of travel involved as well. So, there's not always a ton of time on the plate for these coaches.
There is, and I always try to take time to recognize the assistant coaches too, because the head coach has his responsibilities and the assistant coaches have their responsibilities. Not only the assistant coaches, but the managers, the equipment managers, the film people, the stat crews, the water dudes bringing water out on the field. It's a community effort, and it's a team effort too. So congratulations to our local teams that have made it, and so I think there's going to be some very good football coming up here in the next couple weeks. And it's kind of tough to see, but we hope that Port Allegheny and maybe Clarion can make that run again to the state finals. But that's going to be a tough road to hoe, basically, through the new playoff brackets and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Port Allegheny, like we already talked about, made that run last year. They're 10-0 again. They have the bye week, which we'll get into all the brackets and matchups here in a bit. But it's a little bit different of a year. We haven't seen all these 70-0 games and 60-0 games. There's been some fantastic matchups this year, and it's been a great year. We know the playoffs are going to be fun as well. Like I said already, great matchups, especially round one. Some of the seeding really made about for some fun matchups, whether it be good defenses playing great offenses or vice versa. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, we said that earlier. We talked a little bit about you got to have a good running game, and we'll get to that. And you talked a little bit about Port Allegheny, and we said that midway through the season, the teams that have good running backs always seem to shine as we get towards the end of the season. We have some teams playing their best football right now. Maybe not necessarily at the beginning of the year, but you try to formulate that into playing your best football right now, and we've seen a lot of teams do that. So we're going to come back. We're going to start with that 1A bracket, and talk to you a little bit about the teams, the matchups, because it is a full bracket with our local teams. So we'll take a break. You're listening to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also brought to you by Dubrook on exploreClarion.com.
Redbank Chevrolet, Clarion County's trusted vehicle dealer. At Redbank Chevrolet, we're more than just a dealership. We're your neighbors, your go-to team for everything Chevy. From the moment you walk through our doors, we're here to exceed your expectations with unbeatable service, great selection, and a fun car buying experience. Stop by or schedule your visit today. Together, let's drive.
Since 1946, we've delivered. From commercial to residential, we've got you covered. We proudly serve and support our local communities. Call 844-DUBROOK or visit us online. Dubrook, your trusted ready-mix concrete supplier.
Good luck to all of our area teams from Clarion Ford Chrysler.
Local sales team, local owners.
And remember to buy local at Clarion Ford Chrysler, where all your money stays to the local community.
At Clarion Forest VNA, we bring compassionate care to your doorstep. From skilled nursing to hospice services, we're here for you and your loved ones. Clarion Forest VNA, your trusted partner in home health care. Modern Living Solutions in Knox is always on the lookout for driven, positive individuals to join their team. They offer career growth opportunities and industry-leading pay. No experience is necessary as training is provided. Apply today and build a future with Modern Living Solutions.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kale's kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kale's, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
For over 50 years, Carly Tire and Clarion has been keeping you rolling with quality tires for all your driving needs. And now, we're more than just tires. From state inspections to oil changes to brakes and total car care, Carly Tire is your one-stop shop to keep your vehicle safe and running smooth. Experience hometown service you can trust and quality you can count on. Carly Tire, the area's largest selection of tires. Stop in today and see why Clarion has trusted us for over 50 years.
Our focus has always been on you at Clarion County Community Bank. We're a full-service bank that offers the financial tools you need and the personal attention you deserve. You'll discover we're not just investing in our community, we're investing in you. Clarion County Community Bank.
Your eyes are the window to your soul, so take care of them. The Laurel Eye Clinic provides complete care from annual exams, glasses and contacts to cataract and retinal surgery, LASIK and more. As a trusted leader in family eye care for 50 years, you can trust them with yours. Call or visit us online today.
Need reliable plumbing or heating services? Call Luton's Plumbing and Heating. Fast, friendly, and available 24/7. Call them at 814-226-8695.
Welcome back to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show on Main Street, also brought to you by Dubrook. Dave Cadis along with Brock Jordan. And Brock, let's start getting into the brackets here a little bit and see. I know we were at the college game on Saturday. We had a lot of Central Clarion kids saying, hey, did you hear anything about the brackets or where we're playing or anything? And we said no, and then all of a sudden things started to leak out Saturday night and Sunday. We finally got it formulated to where we're at. So we have 7 teams in District A, in District 1A, in the 1A bracket, and it is a loaded field, basically, all the way across. Let's sum with the number 1 top-seeded team, the Port Allegheny Gators.
You know, coming off a season like they had last year, you don't always envision another successful season as they've had this year. But they really didn't lose too much. They lost a couple of linemen. But one of the biggest stories with Port Allegheny this year is they have got the passing game going. The running game was there, we know. Aiden Bliss ran for, I think, total over 3,000 yards last year. And of course, you'll probably never, ever say this again, but a down year with 1,800 rushing yards already this year, and that's no down year whatsoever. It's mainly because of that passing offense. You know, Brennan Philhart has 1,100 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, and even Bliss himself, 3 for 3 passing and 3 touchdowns. When you have a run game as good as theirs in the pass game that has come along, you're going to see 10-0 probably in the area a lot.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things that Port Allegheny is Coach Mikowski has done a great job. He was Coach of the Year up there for Port Allegheny, and I get a chance to see him a lot of the time up in Brockway for the D9 combo up there, combine, and he has built a program. I mean, you have some people that are still building a program. He has built a program, and he has people out here. And to be able to get Aiden Bliss out there, who is a really good wrestler also, because he's going to start wrestling season here pretty soon, and it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up with everything. So we got a chance to see them earlier in the year against Clarion, and they beat Clarion 27-14 early in the year, and that sort of sent a wake-up call. That game was played down at Larry Weiser Field, and they've had some other big wins, like you researched, against Union, AC Valley, and Brockway to basically end their season.
Yeah, that Union AC Valley game was projected to be kind of, realistically, it was the game for the region, or the first seed, I mean. Whoever came out on top of that one was going to have the first seed, going to get that bye week, and Union kept it close early, but Port Allegheny just did what they do. They pulled away, and they earned themselves that extra week off.
Well, I think the biggest thing is you got a team like that that went to the state championship game last year, and you start learning how to win games, and I think that's exactly what Port Allegheny has done. They've learned how to win games, close games. They learn how to win those, and they keep carrying that on to the season, and so on and so forth. As you mentioned, they finished 10-0 on the season. They had one loss last year in the state championship game, and that's a pretty good 2-year record there. So if you're a sophomore or freshman or an 8th grader, basically, up at Port Allegheny, you're thinking, this is my life. I want to go play on a pretty good team, basically. You talked a little bit about being able to throw the ball a little bit more and everything. Nick Wilfong, who was one of their big receivers and a defensive back this year, made all-conference. That certainly helped in the passing game an awful lot. The postal-away kid, the defensive end, big kid, intimidating type of kid, Isaac, he had 62 tackles and 10.5 sacks this year, so he's a good one. He made all-conference also, and Kellen Villeneuve, the running back, can really run that football an awful lot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, we kind of switch over to the defensive side there. Postal-away, 10.5 sacks, that's a big year in 10 games. I mean, a sack a game, that's impressive. And, there's a couple other guys around the area that we'll get into that are matching, if not besting those numbers. But if you're Coach Binkowski, you can't ask for any more production from one guy on the line there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing, we don't want to miss this, was the offensive MVP in Region 2 basically was Aiden Bliss. So they got it all. They got the whole package. That's why they're the #1 seed, and they have a bye. They will play the winner of Kane and Keystone. Kane comes in, and Matt Bodemer, the coach up there, a standout football player, basically at Port Allegheny for a long, long time, played against my son John, the #5 seed. They finished up the season with an 8-2 record, and they're the #4 seed, basically.
Oh, yeah, Kane, we had a chance to watch them against Union AC Valley, and you can tell they have some football players up there. They have Preston Darr, he's a great athlete. He's up there. He's the #1 target for quarterback Eric Novosel. He's got 1,100 yards on the year with 11 touchdowns at quarterback. He's also rushed for 500 yards and a few touchdowns. They're a scary offense when they get going, and they could cause Keystone some issues this week.
We saw that game down at Union, and they didn't play their best game down at Union. And it's one of those things where Union's a pretty good football team. And Kane just didn't have it that night against Union. Maybe it was an anomaly, but they finish up the season with 8 wins. Anytime you can rack up 8 wins, that's pretty good. But Kane does have some pretty good, some good kids and some good wins and everything. Quality win over Ridgeway, and everybody's been talking a little bit. Ridgeway's sort of the trump card here in this bracket, and nobody knows how that's going to turn. They got Ridgeway, or they got Redbank coming up in a little bit, but they got a big win against them, and that's a big rivalry up because of location.
Yeah, Ridgeway's had some fantastic football teams over the years. I know they were a powerhouse year after year in AA. I know they played Redbank a couple of times in the playoffs and such. They started off a little bit slower this year, but they're hot again at the end of the year. It's definitely a team that I wouldn't have wanted to draw in the first round. But as for Kane, beating a team like that Kane or Ridgeway's very run heavy, and Keystone is as well. So they've kind of seen a lot of run heavy teams, especially in their region, that I think it has them pretty well prepared for Keystone this week.
Isaiah Smith, who's their starting offensive guard, was the offensive lineman of the year in the region, and also plays a really strong defensive end. Evan Anderson is running back up there, and Eric Novosel, like you mentioned, the defensive back, all getting player of the year, all conference mentions. So they come into that football game against Keystone with a head of steam, and we may almost had the opportunity to go up there to do that game, that Keystone game, but opted for a couple other ones with it. So they're going to take on the Keystone Panthers.
Yeah, Coach Smith has done a fantastic job with that Keystone program. 5-5, but that's not a 5-5 that shows who Keystone really is. 2 separate 1-point losses, 4 losses within 1 possession. It all comes down to making a couple plays here and there, and they could easily be looking at 8-2 as like Kane is, or 7-3, 9-1. There's a couple games that could have went either way for them. Got a great offense, good defense. First, want to send a shout out to let me find here Jacob Henry. He broke tackles record at Keystone last week with 301. So pretty impressive feat there.
Yeah. Any Todd Smith team. You talk about learning how to win close games. Todd's done a great job. They lost a couple close ones this year, but he didn't lose the team, which is something important. Anytime you have the Region 3 offensive MVP and your quarterback, Dom Corsetti, you're going to do something well. And from past experience, quarterbacks really flock to Todd Smith, the way he runs his offense and everything else. Those championship teams that Clarion had, when my son John was on the team, Todd and him were on the phone every single night, going over film, seeing this and everything. And I'm sure that's exactly, what Dom Corsetti has basically experienced right now. He's one of those unique type of guys. He has 1,000 yards. He's on the brink. He has 1,000 yards passing yards, and he has over 1,300 rushing yards. So you don't find many people that do 1,000 yards throwing it and about 1,300 yards rushing it. 22 touchdowns on the year. So congratulations to him. And Dom Corsetti, once again, was the offensive MVP in the region. So he's a junior, and that's a good thing. He'll be back for another year, and I'm sure we'll be seeing him during basketball season too.
He's a great athlete in basketball as well. Keystone, they have some athletes on that team. Defensively, they're very strong. Henry has 14 tackles for losses on the year. 9 different guys on that team have registered a sack this year, so they get to the quarterback well, and they can create some problems and make some noise in the bracket.
Yeah, on the defense, it'll be a rain game on Friday night, and you want that strong defense, no doubt about that. And they got some guys over there, like we said, Jake Henry, Eli Nellis, the wide receiver, was given all conference notification. So, and Jake Henry also at that linebacker position. So if the coaches voted on him, they must think he's a really good one. And also to round out the all-conference people over at Keystone, Joey Spence was mentioned in all-conference ratings as a tight end. So that should be a really, really interesting football game. A number 4 Kane seed against the number 5 Keystone seed up at Kane. So we'll be monitoring that score as the night goes on at both of our games that we have. Moving into the same bracket, we'll go to the 3-6 matchup. Basically, the Governor's pride and joy, the Redbank Valley Bulldogs, come in at 6-4. It hasn't been a really, really good year for Blaine Gold and the Bulldogs down there. But once again, I think they're playing their best football as they get into the playoffs.
Absolutely. They're a team that at the beginning of the year didn't really have their identity in the run game, but they're starting to figure it out now, especially, Wagner's been running the ball a lot more. He really finding some openings there, leading that offense down the field. And like I said, they're just a totally different team than they were at the beginning of the season. Lost a couple close games, like, for example, Union, I think it was a 6-point game. That's one, where again, they're 7-3 after that game if it goes the opposite way. But, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You're going good. You're fine.
Biggest storyline in this game, I think, Redbank's had that prolific passing offense as of late. And with the rain coming in, I think that's going to be probably the biggest impacted game this week when it comes to the rain, because that's an offense that loves to throw the ball. Wagner has a great arm on him, good weapons outside, and Ridgeway, they like to run the ball. So they're going to be ready for some rain game, and we'll see if Redbank Valley can keep up with them in that.
Well, I saw some of the weather this evening before we came to the show tonight, and saw that there's a possibility of us getting like up to 2 inches of rain. And if that field is already shot down there at Redbank, that's going to bode pretty well for Ridgeway. Redbank's done a great job. Blaine Gold, the coach down there, no need to go any further. One of the best coaches in District 9, took his Redbank team to the state a couple years ago. Had a heck of a run last year with everything too. Braylon Wagner, all conference again. You expect that basically out of Braylon Wagner. I think one of the best players in District 9, and he was also the defensive MVP in that bracket, was Jackson Huffman. I have known him for a while, got a chance to talk to him a few times. He was a defensive MVP. He's also the punter. This is a unique combination. So he's all conference wide receiver, and he's all conference and defensive MVP on the defensive line.
It's not something you see very often. You don't usually see your defensive lineman out there, running the routes. But he, like you said, he's probably one of the most athletically gifted kids around. I've seen him play basketball, seen him play baseball. He excels at both. Just a great all-around athlete. He's the top target for Wagner. So it's a pretty impressive year for him this year.
Yeah, and also he's the punter on top of it, and he got all conference honors as a punter and everything. Another strong player for Redbank who didn't get a lot of recognition but made all conference honors is Peyton Kennemuth, the linebacker. And he's good. I remember watching him a little bit. I'm not sure if we had Redbank this year, but I know last year we called his name a bunch of times. And also Carson Gould, the defensive back, was given all conference honors also. So he's a good receiver also. He had 36 catches for 368 yards and 7 touchdowns. So, and then slowly Coach Gould is bringing some of these freshmen in. Jake Klauser, 33 catches this year for 3 touchdowns. So he's starting to fill in those slots that he lost so many last year with those good receivers down at Redbank. So a Coach Gould team going into the playoffs, you don't want to face, and he'll have a good game plan ready for that Ridgeway team, basically. So Ridgeway coming into the bracket as a number 6 seed on the year. So let's talk a little bit about them.
Boy, they're a very good 6th seed. 5-5. They know how to run the ball extremely well. They've only passed for 455 a year. They did lose to Redbank once already this year, 35-21, but that was in week 1. 2 very different teams than they are now, both of them. Yeah. Like I said, that's going to be a very fun matchup. Coach Gould will have a game plan ready for that Elker run game. But like I said, weather-wise, it's going to suit the Elkers well.
Well, they earlier played in week 1. Redbank won 35-21 in that matchup, and that's one film that you take and you just sort of hold on to, because how many times you heard this? We'll probably see them in the playoffs, and they are going to see them in the playoffs basically. And Redbank, like you said, very similar to Keystone. They come into this football game at 5-5, but 1 possession losses to Brockway, Union, AC Valley, and Kane. They could easily be 8-2, all the way across the thing. They have 2 quarterbacks that they have. Marcus Gerg, 921 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns, and Nate Stager, we'll talk about him in a little bit. They lead the ground game an awful lot. So that's big tradition up in Ridgeway, that consolidation with Ridgeway and Johnsonburg, basically. So they always produce some good football players up there. So that will be another interesting game on Friday night to watch, along with the 2 that we're going to broadcast once again, the Brockway-Perry, or the Clarion-Perry game, and also the Union Cameron County game. So that's one to keep an eye on. So we'll be hot and heavy with some scores for you during those contests and stuff. So that's going to be a neat one to see how it basically ends up. We'll come back and we'll finish up the last 2 seeds in the bracket. The number 2 seed Union, AC Valley, and the number 7 seed Cameron County, who comes in with a record of 6-4. We'll be back to finish out District 9's 1A bracket right after this. You're watching the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also brought to you by Dubrook on exploreClarion.com.
Hi, my name is Jason, and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
This game is brought to you by Tionesta Builders? No, Tionesta Builder Supply. Family-owned and operated home improvement centers located in Tionesta and Shippenville. At First United National Bank Freiburg, the Fun Bank, we're more than a bank. We're your neighbor. From savings to home loans, we help you grow right where you belong. Stop in today and feel the difference at the Fun Bank.
NPRC helps me with the flexibility of the class times. I'm able to balance work, our hobbies of racing, and our family time in general with being able to take classes when it's convenient for me.
Affordable opportunities are endless at Northern Pennsylvania Regional College. If you're looking to start next semester or next year, apply now at discovernprc.org. discovernprc.org.
Redbank Chevrolet, Clarion County's trusted vehicle dealer. At Redbank Chevrolet, we're more than just a dealership. We're your neighbors, your go-to team for everything Chevy. From the moment you walk through our doors, we're here to exceed your expectations with unbeatable service, great selection, and a fun car buying experience. Stop by or schedule your visit today. Together, let's drive.
Since 1946, we've delivered. From commercial to residential, we've got you covered. We proudly serve and support our local communities. Call 844-DUBROOK or visit us online. Dubrook, your trusted ready-mix concrete supplier.
Good luck to all of our area teams from Clarion Ford Chrysler.
Local sales team. Local owners.
And remember to buy local at Clarion Ford Chrysler, where all your money stays to the local community.
At Clarion Forest VNA, we bring compassionate care to your doorstep. From skilled nursing to hospice services, we're here for you and your loved ones. Clarion Forest VNA, your trusted partner in home health care. Modern Living Solutions in Knox is always on the lookout for driven, positive individuals to join their team. They offer career growth opportunities and industry-leading pay. No experience is necessary as training is provided. Apply today and build a future with Modern Living Solutions.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kale's kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kale's, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
For over 50 years, Carly Tire and Clarion has been keeping you rolling with quality tires for all your driving needs. And now, we're more than just tires. From state inspections to oil changes to brakes and total car care, Carly Tire is your one-stop shop to keep your vehicle safe and running smooth. Experience hometown service you can trust and quality you can count on. Carly Tire, the area's largest selection of tires. Stop in today and see why Clarion has trusted us for over 50 years.
Our focus has always been on you at Clarion County Community Bank. We're a full-service bank that offers the financial tools you need and the personal attention you deserve. You'll discover we're not just investing in our community, we're investing in you. Clarion County Community Bank.
Your eyes are the window to your soul, so take care of them. The Laurel Eye Clinic provides complete care from annual exams, glasses and contacts to cataract and retinal surgery, LASIK, and more. As a trusted leader in family eye care for 50 years, you can trust them with yours. Call or visit us online today.
Back on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also brought to you by Dubrook here on Explore Clarion. And Brock, the last two teams in the District 9 1A bracket, Union AC Valley checks in at the number 2 seed. They're 9-1, and the number 7 seed is Cameron County. They are 6-4. So let's talk a little bit about the Falcon Knights.
Yeah, that Falcon Knights team, being from Reimersburg, you've kind of heard all the rumbles this year that this is a very good football team coming in. They have the defense, they have the run game, led by a freshman quarterback who's doing everything he needs to do to win them some games. They're just, I know a lot of these kids. I know, especially the ones from Union, I know a lot of the work they put in over the summer, and a lot of them deserve, everything that they've had coming to them this year. Max Gallagher, the Region 3 defensive MVP, I know he was out. He was really one of the leaders of that team, getting some of the younger guys in the film room. D lineman of the year, Colvin Elliott. I had a chance to talk to him earlier this season. He's a great kid. He's had a very strong year on the defensive and offensive line. The offensive line carrying that run game too. That's an important part there. And then Coach Reed, I had a chance to speak with him a couple times. He knows what he's doing when he's down there coaching these football teams. And like I said, a lot of the work they put in, they deserve what's come out of this season.
We sat with Coach Reed in the bleachers last year for a preseason show, and I've known him for a long time. But that's another one that we talk about that has built a program down there. And I can't tell you how many kids are dressed down at Union AC Valley. I usually count them during the national anthem. But he's got over 40 kids dressed, ready for that program, turning that program around. And he's built a program down there, which is really good. We've seen them play a couple times this year. Big win against Kane, big win against Redbank down there. And what you're talking about are some good football players. Max Gallagher has the opportunity, I feel, from experience to see could play at the next level. And I'm not sure what his future plans are and everything. I'm sure Coach Monica's probably looked at him here from the university. If not, he's going to be told by me to say, you need to keep an eye on this guy and watch some film and blah, blah, blah. So that is, they're good down there. Basically, Gallagher and Skabinski is a 1-2 punch in that backfield. Let's talk a little bit about them.
Oh, Gallagher over 1,000 yards and has 17 touchdowns on the year. And Skabinski, he's really come along in the second half of the year. He was kind of the second guy, not so much carries wise, but he just really wasn't getting the yards that Gallagher was. But about like the 5th or 6th game into the season, he really turned it on. He's got great speed. Also a pretty big kid, to be that big and have the speed he has, really impressive.
He's healthy.
Oh yeah, coming off that knee injury, there's a lot of guys that probably want to take it easy. Not him. He's putting the head down. He's running. So he's almost to 900 yards, 898 on the year, and he's got 15 touchdowns. So 32 touchdowns out of your backfield. Not much more you could ask for from Coach Reed there.
Yep, and any good, successful team has got to have a good, stable quarterback. And that's what they found with this freshman, Andrew Kiefer. I'm very thankful that Andrew got his genes from his mother. Okay, that's a big plus, basically. But Andrew manages the game an awful lot. And you talk about a kid who manages the game. He has over 1,230 yards throwing the ball now. For a kid that manages a football game, he has 1,200 yards thrown and 7 touchdowns. So as a freshman, which is really, really good.
Yeah, there's no question. He's not being asked. One of the biggest things coming in as a freshman is Coach Reed's not asking him to do more than what he needs to do. And that's something as a freshman you can kind of sit back. You can kind of get the nerves out, relax a little bit. Just make the easy throws, make the reads, get it to your playmakers. They have some great playmakers on the outside. Parker Bish, a sophomore. His brother was there last year as the quarterback, Owen Bish. He's a great kid. He's a hustler. He's scrappy, and he's really fast, too. So having him on the outside along with Trent Fleming and Aiden Fox as well, they've both had big years as well. Everybody's right around that, 250 to 350-yard mark receiving-wise, all 3 of them with some touchdowns. They've had a great year.
And once again, with the weather coming in, they're going to play down on Union's Field. It's grass field down there. It's going to be wet. Last time we were down there, the field was in great shape. We watched the Kane game down there, so I don't think it's going to have the rain is going to have a devastating effect on a grass field like it's going to at a few other venues around the conference. As far as Union goes, accolades, all conference, coach of the year, Dan Reed, and he deserves it. Done a great job down at Union. So, and like we talked off the air, coaches get that nod as far as, hey, coach of the year, and they're like, yeah, but the players get it, and it's not about me, it's a play. Deep down, you got a little spot in there to say, hey, listen, I'm really enjoying this, and thank you for recognizing me, basically. Defensive MVP for the year, Max Gallagher. We failed to mention Noah Yori, the guard, offensive guard, all conference. Really a good one there. Trent Fleming is the punter also. That's a big weapon as you start getting into the playoffs. And Logan Skabinski, the running back. So Union's loaded. They're ready to go, and they're ready to make a move in the playoffs. And as the number 2 seed, and having one loss, they're looking up at the top of that bracket to Port Allegheny, who handed them that loss. And I'm sure they'd like to get that rematch with them. Let's talk a little bit about Cameron County. Was on the phone last night with the head coach up there and really liked him. We're going to build a pretty good relationship because he's building the program. Don't be shocked Friday night when we show up. They only have 22 kids dressed, okay, Brock? So you're going to be doing all the directing producers like, where's the rest of the team? Are they still in the locker room? He's got 22 hard-nosed type of kids that want to play football. A small school like that, excuse me, they've been trying to get more kids out, and they do have a store of kids coming up through the 8th graders and 9th graders are going to be on that varsity team next year. So it was great talking to him with things. So they have a 6-4 record, and they're another very heavy running team.
Oh yeah, and that's starting to become a trend, especially up north. Those running teams, they love to put their heads down, get the shoulder pads down, and run through some people. So it makes for some fun football to watch. I know that I wouldn't want to be playing that way, but
yep.
Camden Fragel leads the team in rushing, 812 yards, 10 touchdowns. He's had a good year. Malachi Zukul, he's added 683 yards and 11 touchdowns, and he was also the Region 4 defensive MVP. So that's another guy both sides of the ball. He really produces for the Cameron County team.
Well, one of the biggest things, and you mentioned Fragale, that's a big football name at Clarion and also at Edinboro, and he's had brothers and cousins and everybody that come out up there, and they're all really, really good football players basically all the way across the board. So Coach Naiman and we talked about his team, and it's like, hey, I got 22 kids, man. He goes, we might not even take a bus. We might just load up in vans and get down there. And, so we went through all that. But, any good coach likes to downplay his team. We were close in a few games, he said, too, with everything. But we got the kids, the 22 that we have are hard-nosed kids. Now, we just don't want any injuries, he said, because that really shakes everything up. But our starters, our starting 11 and our starting 11 on the other side are pretty good, strong kids. And he was named Coach of the Year up there. And as you go through this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids, all conference honors up there out of that 22. That's pretty good. The Fragale kid, the Tucker kid, the Burlingame, Artman, Schneider, and Purcell, and the defensive MVP was Malachi Zukul. So they'll be ready to go on Friday night at 7 o'clock when they tip that ball off down at Union High School. So that's a good one. So, all right, Mr. Jordan. So you're looking at that bracket, number one, the top bracket and everything. Who do you got moving out, you think?
That's tough.
Well, the first one's easy. Port Allegheny's going to move out. They're going to buy.
I would definitely bet on Port Allegheny moving on.
Kane and Keystone?
That's going to be a great game. I think Keystone's going to come out with a win there. The Redbank Ridgeway one's probably the one I'm on the fence about the most, just because of, like I said, the weather impact. I don't know. That's honestly maybe a 55-45, 50-50 game, or like percentages-wise, not score-wise. I think that has the potential to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give you one on that one. Then just being from Reimersburg, I have to go with the guys.
You got to go with
the Falcon Knights.
That's it. So yep. So it'll be an interesting bracket. So we'll get through to the quarterfinal round basically, and see what happens from there. So that's your 1A bracket. So let's move on to the District 9 bracket. Only 3 teams in the bracket, and we've had this conversation. I have had this conversation with some other coaches and said, that should be. That's with redistricting and 6 brackets, 6 divisions now and everything. The number 1 team, the Carson City Gremlins, come in as the top seed, 8-2.
Boy, you talk about a team that talk about teams that just want to play their best football at the end of the year. I don't think there's any team that's hotter than Carson City right now. They're riding a 5-game winning streak, and it's not just a 5-game winning streak that features some lower-level teams. There's Central Clarion, Westinghouse, Brockway, Punxsutawney, Wilmington. 5 very, very solid football programs that they've come into the playoffs after beating. Cole Johnson, the quarterback, he's played great all year. He's another one of those guys that, he's not quite to that 1,000 club as Corsetti is, but he's got over 1,000 passing yards, and he's almost up to 700 rushing yards. So they're a very good football team.
Last year at this time, Carson City also top of the notch and everything else. They were kind of limited with Cole Johnson throwing the football a little bit. He's really come into his own. We did the Punxsutawney Carson City game last week. Excuse me. And he threw the ball when he needed to throw the ball, and he completed it. And I think those are really good attributes for that quarterback to have this time of year. Not only can he tuck it and run too. He's picked up a lot of yards all the way through. Number 32 down there, Hunter Schneer, is just one heck of a beast as far as running back is concerned. Anytime in the red zone, look for number 32. He's there, and he's going to run the football an awful lot. And they got some breakaway guys, too, in this Higginbotham. We always see him running loose in the secondary and everything else. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah, Sharir, he's kind of their power back there. He's like guy that, hey, we're on the 1-yard line. Yeah, this is your ball to take in. Higginbotham, he's kind of been the unlucky one, 600 yards, but he only has the 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And that's because, some of these defenses are getting caught up to them in the red zone, and then Sharir's just taking all of his touches away in the red zone. So, he's kind of been unlucky on that end. But then Nathan Hess as well, another 588 rushing yards from him and 7 touchdowns. When you can run 3 guys in and out of the backfield, keep all those guys energized, let one of them take a breath when he needs to, you're going to be a hard offense to stop.
And they're big, strong Carson City kids. Bryce Gallen has 6 of the team's interceptions on defense, 6 out of 10 of the interceptions, so you got to keep an eye on him as far as where he goes and everything. And Coach has done a good job at Carson City again, and they're going to have their bye week this week, and I'm sure a lot of those coaches are going to come up to Brockway to watch Central Clarion, because Central Clarion checks in as the number 2 seed in District 9. They will take on the Perry Commodores on Friday night at Brockway.
Yeah, Central Clarion, they've really found their groove the second half of the year as well. They've had a very tough schedule this year. They played Kirtland week 1. That's that Ohio powerhouse team that came in. They have nice wins over DuBois. They have nice wins over Butler last week, Keystone. It's an offense that they've really been on a roll, even without Mason Burford and Alex Love last week. Their offense still looked good. So to get those guys that extra week of rest, I talked to Coach Eggleton, and he said, had that been a playoff game, those guys are probably out there, but they just wanted to be precautionary. He said, obviously every game means something, but, to give the guys that are kind of banged up an extra week off, that extra week, it was big for them.
Well, I think it'll be a tough game time decision probably night if Alex Love and Burford play tomorrow or Friday night. So, so that's going to be an interesting thing. Do you want to get them in? Do you want to get their legs a little bit? How do you want to go here and everything with it? So, big thing. Hayden Hyman, defensive lineman MVP, made all conference again. 3rd year in a row that he's got the defensive lineman MVP out of the district. So he's having himself a pretty good year. And, his brother didn't come. His brother didn't get all conference honors and everything, but Carter Hyman, but he's played he's been one of those type of kids who got thrown into the quarterback position. Good manager, making his way through and everything, over 1,200 yards this year, 10 touchdowns, and he gets better as every game goes. And I think that's a big testament to Coach Eggleton and all the assistant coaches at Clarion to bring him along in a slow manner.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got a very strong arm. He's really made some deep throws here the last couple weeks that have been really impressive, at least to me. DuBois, he had a couple nice deep touchdown passes, and even last week he made a couple big throws. So he's had a great year throwing the football so far.
Yeah, that DuBois game, he really came into his own. You can tell he made He made one bad throw in that game, but he made about 10 throws that were fantastic. And the other thing, interesting thing about him, he can run the football.
Yeah.
Once he gets in the open area, he'll lumber down the field basically the whole way across the board. So a lot of all-conference honors for the Central Clarion group. Hayden Hyman, like we said, was all-conference as a guard and defensive lineman. Third year in a row as the defensive MVP. Ethan Rex at running back. He's a Swiss Army knife. He can do a lot of different things. Mason Burford was voted the top wide receiver and also defensive back. Brennan Carrier made all-conference accolades as a tackle. Brant Parker, who I've liked since last year, really doing a good job, mixes it up in there. Charlie Hepful, really tough kid at linebacker. Like Charlie an awful lot. Saw him during basketball season. We got to strike up a relationship, and a well-spoken kid, and really, all-conference honors for him. He's all over the board, and they found him a little bit in the backfield last week. So that's something interesting to keep an eye on, too. And another unsung hero, I think, Briggs Beckwith, getting all conference honors at that linebacker position. So I think Clarion playing their best football, and things look very bleak at the beginning of the season. But they found some sparks along the way. Jason Moravitz has 4 interceptions for the team. They got some injured guys back. Patrick Dorish was able to come back to that offensive line. The Beggs kid, it looks like he may be back and everything. So they're starting to get some kids that were injured back, and that's only going to make that Central Clarion team, a little bit stronger as the playoffs continue. So they're taking on a Perry team, which I'm familiar with, being from Pittsburgh, and in the City League down there, and you just never know. The Commodores show up, and it's one of those crazy. You hope they show up on the bus, because they're coming from all the way from Pittsburgh to Brockway, and I think some of those kids never made it past I-80. So they're going to get their first look at Brockway, Pennsylvania, and a good Clarion team. So we'll be up here to cover that. The governor and also the Hall of Famer Mike Kalinowski will be broadcasting that game on Friday evening. So you look at that bracket now. You got Carson City with a bye. You got Central Clarion taking on Perry. So let's move out with the Central Clarion and Perry game. I think we can both agree, unless the rivers rise and the lightning comes down and the locusts come, I think Central Clarion will move on basically in the bracket to take on a good Carson City team. That's going to be a heck of a football game.
Yeah, they've already played once this year, and I believe it was like 35-21, somewhere around there. I don't remember the exact score, but it was a game that you never want to blame this on, teams not having who they normally have. But like we said, Clarion had a pretty injury-riddled season this year. Ethan Rex was unavailable for that Carson City game. So, it could change the outcome of that game. It may not. You never know. But, boy, what a championship game that'll be.
Yeah, it'll be big, and that should take place next weekend somewhere along the schedule. Wanted to mention also the Carson City kids that made all-conference. C.J. Emmerich at center and linebacker. The lineman of the year was Sean Slogenhop. Really impressive during that Punxsutawney game that we were at last weekend at guard and tackle. Hunter Shear at fullback, Mason Bell at defensive end, and Cole Johnson as the quarterback making all-conference honors. So, both teams pretty loaded in that District 9 2A bracket. So why don't we take a time out, and we'll come back for the District 9 3A bracket. You're watching Redbank Chevrolet's Main Street Sports Show, also brought to you by Dubrook on exploreClarion.com.
Your eyes are the window to your soul, so take care of them. The Laurel Eye Clinic provides complete care from annual exams, glasses and contacts to cataract and retinal surgery, LASIK, and more. As a trusted leader in family eye care for 50 years, you can trust them with yours. Call or visit us online today.
Need reliable plumbing or heating services? Call Luton's Plumbing and Heating. Fast, friendly, and available 24/7. Call them at 814-226-8695.
Hi, my name is Jason, and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
This game is brought to you by Tionesta Builders? No, Tionesta Builders Supply. Family-owned and operated home improvement centers located in Tionesta and Shippenville. At First United National Bank Freiburg, the Fun Bank, we're more than a bank. We're your neighbor. From savings to home loans, we help you grow right where you belong. Stop in today and feel the difference at the Fun Bank.
At Clarion Forest VNA, we bring compassionate care to your doorstep. From skilled nursing to hospice services, we're here for you and your loved ones. Clarion Forest VNA, your trusted partner in home health care.
MPRC helps me with the flexibility of the class times. I'm able to balance work, our hobbies of racing, and our family time in general with being able to take classes when it's convenient for me.
Affordable opportunities are endless at Northern Pennsylvania Regional College. If you're looking to start next semester or next year, apply now at discovernprc.org. discovernprc.org.
Back on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also brought to you by Dubrook here on Explore Clarion. Dave Cadis along with Brock Jordan, finishing up a few of the brackets as we go through, and you can tell a lot of good teams, a lot of good all-conference kids, and everybody excited this time of the year at the end of October for district playoffs. And you know, we got another bracket we need to get through, and that's District 9, the 3A bracket. The Brockway Rovers, the number 1 seed, going to get a bye, and also St. Mary's going to get a bye too, so that's going to be basically your championship game. So Brockway, Coach Heigl, Clarion grad, played football here at Clarion, trying to build a program up there. It's taken, I think, a little longer than he wants. They finish up 6-4, but I think they finally turned the corner, basically. They have a great coaching staff in Brockway, and you know, as a 6-4 record, I think they have a lot of things going for them. And that game, I think that game will be actually this weekend, Brockway and St. Mary's.
I believe it is on Saturday. It's at Du Bois. You know, Brockway is another one of those teams that the offense has been very good this year. You know, Aiden Patton throwing the ball 1,800 yards and 19 touchdowns. You know, that's a big year from a quarterback, especially, you know, 1,800 yards to be 6-4. You almost don't see that. But you know, they've had some tough games. They beat Redbank, Keystone, Ridgeway, so they do have some big wins under their belt. Though I'm sure they'll be ready for a good St. Mary's team. Yeah,
Aiden Patton has thrown for 1,800 yards and 19 touchdowns, and you know, that's a good, solid performance. They're turning it in, and Patton was all conference as the quarterback up there and everything. So 3 others are over 200 yards rushing the game. Caleb Doherty is Patton's favorite target. Colin Weir leads the rushing game with 455 yards, 433 yards and 5 touchdowns. So they're pretty good offensively all the way across the board. Defensively, Maddox Decker gets to the quarterback often with 9 sacks, as you wrote. And this Winnings kid leads the team, sophomore, with 79 tackles. He'll be interesting to watch.
Oh, yeah. You know, having a sophomore kind of lead your defense really gets you excited as a coach for the next couple years. You know you're going to have a guy there that who can turn into that Charlie Hepful for Central Clarion, or the Max Gallagher for Union AC Valley. He's just going to be all over the field, you know, chasing the ball down.
Well, that'll be interesting to see. You'll remember his name, Matthew Winnings, and you'll hear a lot about him. St. Mary's, Chris Dorick, head coach of that team, pushing it the right way. Another Clarion grad here, played receiver here at Clarion, running the Flying Dutch up there. Coach, you know, sometimes you hope that they pull things. They had a tough game up against Central Clarion, played them, so it's going to be interesting to see how they come back this weekend to play Brockway. That's sort of they're close in proximity, so you know, it is a big rivalry with them, and let's see how they do, you know, as far as that game matches up.
Yeah, you know, St. Mary's another one of those teams that likes to run the ball. They have over 1,500 rushing yards as a team. You know, 3 guys have over 200 rushing yards. Andrew Field leading them, you know, 736 yards, 8 touchdowns. Frankie Smith does come in with 18 catches for 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Field also leads the defense with 82 tackles. So they're going to come in looking to knock off a Brockway team that actually beat them earlier on in the season. That was a week 2 matchup. St. Mary's lost that game 20-13, so they're going to want to try and take Brockway out after that.
A lot of all-conference guys. Ben Yale, all-conference. He was the offensive lineman of the year for Brockway. Maddox Decker at tackle was the co-defensive line MVP. Caleb Dockery at wide receiver. Aiden Patton at quarterback. Maddox Decker at defensive end. And Matt Winnings, the sophomore, at linebacker, picking up all-conference honors. For St. Mary, Jaden Overly at tackle. Andrew Field at defensive back. And Landon Cook at linebacker. So looking at that game, I have a soft spot for Chris Dorick, but I also like Eric Heigl. So I'm going to let you pick that game.
Well, I don't know. I haven't gotten a chance to watch much St. Mary's football this year. I have seen some clips of Brockway. So just, you know, I don't know. I think Brockway might take that one, but I'm not sure on that one either.
There you go. Well, they're playing good football towards the end of the year. Now, the District 8 and 9 bracket, okay? Punxsutawney, who has just had one heck of a year this year. You know, one of the best years in memory. The Punxsutawney's really shined. 9-1 on the year. They'll get a bye in that first round, and they'll play the winner of Clearfield and USO, which I found out is University Prep, SciTech, and Obama Academy. So Clearfield and USO will play that game Friday night, I believe, at Brookville High School. And they'll have an outcome there, and the winner of that game will go on to play Punxsutawney. But Punxsutawney, we've seen them, Brock, and we really like what we've seen.
Oh my, they're one of the more fun football teams to watch in the area. You know, Bo Thomas, defensive MVP for the Chucks there. You know, he's had a great year offensively and defensively. And Brandon Snyder, just what a job he's done turning that program around. You know, the last couple of years, Punxsy's had some tough seasons, but to come in this year 9-1, you know, take down Karn City once, take down Central Clarion.
And that's another coach who on any time, a drop of a dime, will call and say, hey, let me talk about my team a little bit. And he's done a great job, and I enjoyed my conversations with him throughout the year. So, yeah, they lost the big game. Their last game was with Karn City, and now they got a few weeks off to get healed up. But they have quite an array of all-conference guys and some good people all the way around. A well-balanced team.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Maddox Hetrick at quarterback, you know, kind of got thrown in there after an injury in week 1 and turned out to throw for 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. He's also one of those quarterbacks not afraid to lower their shoulder, not afraid to take off. He's got 370 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. Jordan Rutan up over 1,000 yards out of the backfield with 15 touchdowns. You know, he had a big game at Karn City. We saw him, a big game against Central Clarion. But one of the biggest notes I have here about Punxsutawney is
I know what you're going to say.
The potential X factor in sophomore kicker Owen Roken. And you know, Central Clarion had that kicker last year.
Thomas Euchre.
Yep, Euchre. He could kick a football, and now it's Punxsutawney's turn with a guy, you know. He's good. He looks like he could be good from 50, 60 yards some nights. It's just
and
that's
he's a
something.
sophomore, too.
Yeah, that's something they're going to use and take advantage of all postseason.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there taking a look at him right now as sophomore, as a kicker, and that's, I'll tell you, he's one of the best kickers I've seen in the. Well, I was talking a little bit about the Klaus brothers down in Redbank also. But he has done a great job, and the Chucks have racked up 28 sacks on the year too. So they're going to move in against Clearfield or USO, depending who wins that game. To round out tonight's brackets, we're talking about District 6, 8, and 9, and let's just spend it just a little bit. Let's go back to Punxsy again. Adam Muth is a tackle, all-conference. Jordan Rutan, a running back. Logan Moore was all-conference wide receiver and defensive back. Tight end Bo Thomas, and the defensive MVP is linebacker, and Owen Roken as far as the punter is concerned. So, congratulations to Du Bois or to Punxsutawney. Finishing out the bracket. The number 1 seed in that bracket is Hollidaysburg against against Alderdice. Now I know Central Clarion scrimmage Hollidaysburg this year, and according to some of their coaches, it's like they're loaded. They're 10-0, and they can make a strong run to the state playoffs and stuff. So that's going to be a tough bracket. Du Bois checks in as the number 2 seed at 6-4, and they'll play Mifflin County, who's also 6-4, and we get a chance to see them play against Central Clarion, and sort of an off night for Trey Wingert, the quarterback over there. Just really didn't have it. He's moving on to play baseball apparently at Delaware, and you know, so he's done a good job this year with things. A couple other all-conference guys, and Wingert, offensive MVP of that region. Noah Crawford, a tackle, is the co-lineman MVP, and Jackson Hansley, wide receiver, defensive back, all-conference on both sides of the ball. Thatcher Hansley, a wide receiver, and Dalton Riesinger at linebacker. So we wish Du Bois the best of luck, and we'd like to see them expand in the bracket, and we want all of our district teams to expand in the bracket as much as we possibly can. Explore Clarion will be here to cover you if you just keep moving through the bracket. You're finishing up a nice little couple weeks here with some volleyball, and why don't you inform our viewers how that's going, who's left, and I'm going to get a drink of water.
Yeah, so you know, volleyball, we had two district semifinal games last night in the single A bracket. Clarion, you know, as the 6th seed came in, they've knocked out CL already, and they've knocked out now the 2 seed, Port Allegheny. They will move on to play Elk County Catholic, who knocked off the 1 seed undefeated Keystone Panthers last night. And, you know, just a little bit of an off night for Keystone. ECC took them to 5 sets, and, you know, you hate to see a team's great season end like that when at the beginning of the year they didn't even think they would have a season. So, but yeah, so we'll have Elk County Catholic and Central Clarion for tomorrow night. That district championship will be held at Du Bois High School, sorry. And, you know, as for Redbank defeated by Brookville the other night. Brookville now move on. They will play St. Mary's. That will be a doubleheader up at Du Bois High School tomorrow night. So yeah, volleyball action. Playoffs have been fun. We're getting down to the wire here. Since Clarion did solidify themselves a state playoff berth, so whether
now,
they win or lose.
You may not know this, but the first game tomorrow evening is who?
The first game tomorrow is the Brookville and St. Mary's game, and then Clarion plays at 7:30.
Okay, so Explore's going to cover that game at 7:30. Okay, that's good. Okay, so there's your volleyball wrap up, and it's been an exciting season for all the young ladies in the district, and congratulations to their accolades. I'm sure they're going to get a lot of all-conference information coming out here pretty soon and everything, and we'll be able to pass that on to you. So we're going to take a break right now, and we'll come back to wrap things up here from the Haskell House. You're watching the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also brought to you by Dubrook on exploreClarion.com.
Redbank Chevrolet, Clarion County's trusted vehicle dealer. At Redbank Chevrolet, we're more than just a dealership. We're your neighbors, your go-to team for everything Chevy. From the moment you walk through our doors, we're here to exceed your expectations with unbeatable service, great selection, and a fun car buying experience. Stop by or schedule your visit today. Together, let's drive.
Since 1946, we've delivered. From commercial to residential, we've got you covered. We proudly serve and support our local communities. Call 844-DUBROOK or visit us online.
At Clarion Forest VNA, we bring compassionate care to your doorstep. From skilled nursing to hospice services, we're here for you and your loved ones. Clarion Forest VNA, your trusted partner in home health care.
Back at the Haskell House, Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also brought to you by Dubrook. And Brock, every time we do this show, I love coming here to the Haskell House.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, a lot of weddings, a lot of meetings, a lot of different things, and just the character of the building. To be able to do the show in here is quite an honor, and you know, it's kind of neat to do the show. Yeah. So one thing, heading down the pike, we have all this exciting things going on at one time now. This is the time of year that drives athletic trainers crazy, because you got football going on, you got boys basketball, you have girls basketball, you have wrestling going on, all of these things. Our big focus is the football playoffs as we get through, and we want to wish all of our teams the best of luck throughout the football brackets, and we want to wish Sherry Campbell and the Clarion Bobcats volleyball team all the best of luck too. Final comments?
Yeah, you know, it's been a fun fall sports-wise here. I know we're getting ready to dive into the winter season, but you know, we've had some great football games, great volleyball matches. It's been an exciting fall, great athletes all around, great coaching all around. So, Speaking of coaching, want to give a shout out to Jake's favorite coach, James Franklin. Got a new job, allegedly, but he is getting a new job. They're finalizing it, according to Jake. I know he's been over there keeping track of that really heavy. So, yeah. Rooting for Brian Hartline to Penn State. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. But no, it's been a great fall here and a great night here tonight with you, Dave.
Yeah, same thing, Brock, and I appreciate all the work and time and effort that you put into this for Explore Clarion. Well, that'll do it for tonight, folks. We will be with you Friday night. Dave Constantino and I will be at the Union Cameron County game. We'll have that for you on Explore. We'll probably go on the air around 6:30. Mike Kalinowski, the Hall of Famer, and Bob Dunkel, the governor, will be up in Brockway. They drew the short straw, so they got to drive all the way to Brockway for the Central Clarion Perry game. So we'll have both games here on Explore Clarion for you. So keep an eye on it, and hopefully our local teams will win, and we'll go through there. For Brock Jordan, this is Dave Kadis. You've been watching the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also brought to you by Dubrook on exploreClarion.com. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Redbank Chevrolet, Clarion County's trusted vehicle dealer. At Redbank Chevrolet, we're more than just a dealership. We're your neighbors, your go-to team for everything Chevy. From the moment you walk through our doors, we're here to exceed your expectations with unbeatable service, great selection, and a fun car buying experience. Stop by or schedule your visit today.